Good day, everyone. I am here to present on behalf of my team with our innovation entitled the ANIM model. Now everyone can write poetry. I am Dr. Thusha Rani Rajendra. My team members are from Institute of Teacher Education, Malay Language Campus, and also SMK Bandar Baru Sungai Buloh situated in Selangor. Why is this innovation so pertinent? This innovation is embedded in the theory of visual literacy. It's as important to be visually literate to understand pictures and how they affect us as it is to be word literate. Many of us employ visual language often without realizing it. Being fluent in the language of images gives us an advantage at school, at work, and at home. A team of neuroscientists from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology has found that the human brain can process entire images that the eye sees for as little as 13 milliseconds, the first evidence of such rapid processing speed. So here comes the importance of visual literacy. Visual literacy supports multimodality, multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary, and collaborative work. The benefits of adopting images include its support for multiple intelligences, promote visual literacy, support different theories of cognition, help reluctant and struggling students, promote autonomous learning, and address significant and current issues. So, based on all this, several problem statements were identified in order to come up with this innovation. The first being language anxiety is influenced by cognitive challenges. There is the need to explore multimodality in the classroom. And finally, English poetry writing can be challenging for L2 students. So the objectives are to encourage poetry writing among students and even others, to inculcate visual literacy, to promote the love for art, and finally to build confidence. And so 90% of what we take in is taken in visually. Images are all around us. The visual is learned before the verbal. They promote higher order thinking skills, critical thinking skills, and lifelong learning. Engagement is pertinent, especially in this new norm. So how does the model work? Grounded in the theory of visual grammar propounded by Gunter Kress and Theo van Leeuwen, there is a need to have a structured and systematic approach to analyze images, and the ANIM model provides that. The ANIM model was introduced and it's a progression of the basic model which was first introduced in INNOCOM 2020. So basically the model has three important elements which are look, analyze, and interpret. So these are some of the images that students can actually look into: movie advertisements, billboard advertisements, and even paintings. So images and poetry have the potential to develop students' creative and critical thinking skills, lead on to a greater variety of activities, can increase students' proficiency levels, and the increase of enjoyment. Our methodology today would actually look into art. And if you look at this picture, a picture of a lady, so we first look at it and then we analyze. There's a pot of flowers on the table. She is dressed resplendently in a Malay attire and she looks kind of nostalgic. So based on this, you could brainstorm words and then come up with sentences which can then be broken into stanzas. So this is a sample from one of the students, Hazik, who went on to decipher this particular image, and he wrote one about a woman. She's a woman, not a girl, not a child. The following example looks at a high school student, Nurul, who went on to create haiku, which is a bit restricted and difficult because you have to work around the number of syllables. And she wrote about her mother. So pretty in red, my mother, the queen of hearts, pure inside and out. Sample 3 is an interpretation of Vincent van Gogh's Starry Nights, and Darshini, one of our teacher trainees, wrote a good poem on the stars, gloomy days, hushed nights with a paint covered soul, and it continues. Moving on, we have two high school students, Mia and Chitra, who interpreted this self portrait of Frida Kahlo, and they wrote good poems based on this image after analyzing this particular image. So, what we see here is the ability to look into these images and come up with words, and later on put them into a poetic verse to come up with poems.
This is Chan Man Wen, one of our students, who uploaded her presentation of the poem entitled Starry Nights. The students who were asked to comment on the effectiveness of the model clearly indicated that it had helped them to better understand a concept and move on to create their own poems. They also indicated that they have become more confident in presenting their works in public. So how effective is the model in increasing students' proficiency levels in writing poetry? The pre and post test results in the table attest the efficacy of the ANIM model, specifically as a scaffold to help these students.
A few considerations is that the importance of pedagogical goals should be looked into, the need to sequence and scaffold, and finally, interpretations must not be restrained by conventions.
One of the interesting impacts of the innovation is the showcase of students' work on Padlon. These students clearly mustered the courage to publish their works for public viewing. And certainly what an achievement that is.
The other impact is the motivation to confidently present their own masterpieces. It can be easily adapted into other languages and for all levels. And finally, the subject of visual literacy can be included in the curriculum. This is the difference between the earlier base model and the ANIM model. And as you can see, there is a distinction between the look, analyze, interpret, whereas the previous one had to look into background shot and salience.
The other major improvement to the original model is the inclusion of a QR code. Here, the one-stop storage space contains links to various museums, articles, etc. to help teachers and students navigate. The major achievement of this innovation has to be the publication of the Book of Hope and Faith, an anthology of poetry which has its own ISBN number. This book sees the combined efforts of lecturers, teachers, and our students in creating their own original work of poems.
In addition, we won a silver medal in INNOCOM 2020. In conclusion, art enhances creativity and critical intellectual skills, it enriches the learning of other subjects, and it inculcates confidence.
It is the supreme art of the teacher to awaken joy in creative expression and knowledge. Quote unquote, Albert Einstein. And with that, thank you very much.